It is 3:30 on Tuesday, December 10th, 2024, and in less than 24 hours, I will be in Los Angeles.
This is me. A little over a year ago, right before I was about to take a spontaneous trip down to Los Angeles to catch a screening of a movie that I was in. Now, most of you are probably wondering, why did I do this? Well, let's rewind the clock back to May of 2023. So, my agent hits me up one day and says that I've been cast as a background actor for a movie that's filming in the city that I live in. Background actor is the official term given to people whose job it is to just wander around in the background or react. They're most commonly known as extras, but some people consider that as a bit of a derogatory remark, so background actors is the preferred term. The memo said that it would be a crowd scene, and that the movie dealt with some heavy topics. The movie in question would be The Order. And for those of you who don't know, The Order is a crime thriller about a group of white supremacists robbing banks to fund a war against the US government. In the movie, Jude Law plays Terry Husk, an FBI agent sent on the case. Nicholas Hoult plays Bob Matthews, the real-life leader of the group. Now, I wasn't sure what to expect on the day. I was given the heads up that some extras would be skinheads with shaved head and fake Nazi tattoos on the back. Other extras would wear swastika armbands and other symbols of white supremacy groups. I think it was around this time where I had been a background actor for a scene in the second season of Joe Pigott. And in that scene, I was also part of a crowd, but it was two crowds clashing against one another.
Why you love animals so much? Your mom a pig?
So my assumption was that maybe it would be a similar scene. Like one side has this white supremacist neo-Nazi protest, and the other would be sort of a counter-protest. But that was not the case at all. The scene we were filming happens around the middle of the movie. What happens is there's this rally of all these different white supremacist and neo-Nazi groups that come together. Bob Matthews, or Nicholas Hoult, stands up and gives a speech, and then we, the background actors, are to repeat a mantra. Now, I just want to say before I go into further detail, and to address the AI bots that are running YouTube now, what I am about to say is not meant to be an endorsement or approval of hateful ideology. It is merely quoting what was said in a script. The showing of certain symbols and uttering of certain phrases are for purely educational purposes only. They are not an endorsement of said ideologies or statements. So it was a bring your own wardrobe situation. I arrive in a jean jacket and jeans, typical Colorado wear, since that's where the movie takes place. But then they completely changed my costume. So I'm now wearing a white tank top or wife beater or whatever it's called, and sweatpants or track pants. The hair and beard that I have now is about the same that I had on the day. So I felt less like part of this rally and more like a Russian gangster. We get to the set and the AD delegates us and tells us about the context of the movie, what happens in the movie, and tells us that it is a very, very heavy scene. Earlier I mentioned how Nicholas Hoult is supposed to give this mantra and then repeat it.
Defeat. Victory.
Well, eventually the crowd starts to chant white power. Eventually that chant of white power would lead to all of us giving the Sieg Heil salute, the Nazi salute. Now in the movie they cut that part off, but yeah, it was a very intense day. I want to give a shout out to the assistant directors on that for guiding us through this. Now the ADs told us that we did not have to repeat anything we didn't feel comfortable saying. They let us know that if we felt that this was too much and we needed a break, we could step off. Nobody was under any obligation to repeat anything or do the salute. So that's pretty much what I did. I did repeat the defeat never, victory forever bit, but when we did the everything else, I just made a bunch of random yelling noises. Yeah, 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 yeah. Now adding to the intensity of the scene was the heat itself. See, around that time, a lot of smoke from wildfires had blown into Alberta, and the scene itself had to be a smoky room. So we had smoke on the outside and smoke on the inside. There was just no way of escaping the smoke. And it was hot. And it was humid. I think I actually recognized myself in the scene, but I'll talk about that later. let's get back on track to why I went down to LA. It was a smaller budgeted movie, and even though it got picked up for theatrical distribution in the United States, it only got an Amazon Prime distribution for the rest of the world. Now, if you were to break down the box office tallies of a movie by territory, Canada's total gets lumped in with the US's. Any movie that gets released in the United States, you can more or less expect it to get a release up here in the Great North. Not so much with The Order. The Order just went straight to Amazon Prime in February for that one. It ended up having a limited theatrical run in the States to qualify for awards season, and I thought to myself, you know, this is the first movie I've ever been a part of. The first one that is getting a theatrical release of some description. I want to experience that. I want to experience going to a movie and being able to find myself up there on the big screen. And so, that was it. There were a couple showings I thought about going to. One of them included a Q&A session after the movie with Jude Law and the director, but the only seats I could find were really far back in the corner. It would have been cool to go just for the experience, but in the end, I decided to go to a theater in Universal City. And this happened fast too. Like, I think within 2 days of saying this is what I wanted to do, I had booked my ticket, my hotel, and everything. Now, this was pretty monumental for another reason. This would be the first time I traveled outside of Canada by myself. Now, granted, I had gone to places without my parents before. I was a French exchange student for about 3 months, but that doesn't really count. What matters is that this was my first time as a fully grown man venturing out, visiting someplace on my own. Now, of course, had to talk with my dad about it, being aware of it because, it's Los Angeles. But I ended up finding a decent hotel and I was going to be back by night the next day anyway, so. The following morning after I took that initial video, I set off on my journey. My dad drove me to the airport. Once I got past security and was now on American territory, I got myself a beer, watched the sunrise a bit, and then, before I knew it, I was boarding the plane.
I'm just a little over an hour away from takeoff. It's pretty quiet this morning. Technically speaking, I'm on US soil, but I won't actually be in the States until around almost 2 o'clock Calgary time, 1 o'clock Los Angeles time. Pretty excited about this trip. I got a good seat near the front. It'll be on the right hand side, which means I'll probably be able to see the Hollywood sign as I come in. It's going to be a good little spontaneous vacation. The adventure begins.
Now, there was an economy class and then a premium class, since it was a smaller plane. And I decided to get an economy class near the front row. And it was a nearly empty flight, so I had the 2 seats next to me completely to myself. Soon we took off, we were on our way. I got to film a bit of some of the states as we traveled over them before we descended to sunny California. And if you look real hard, you can just see the Hollywood sign.
Made it to LA. It's loud. Smells of smog. Exactly what I expected.
Touching down in LA, I had an Uber waiting for me, hopped in and took me through Los Angeles up to where I would be staying. Now, in hindsight, I probably should have gone to Burbank. That was the airport that was much closer and probably would have saved me a lot. But Burbank was more expensive, so it was a question of, do I spend a bit more on Uber or spend a lot more on Burbank? Anyways, I got to the hotel room, which wasn't terrible, it seemed alright. The room wasn't the best though. There was like a couple holes in the wall, and it just looked kind of tacky. Now, when I first got there, they told me that I had to wait for a bit because the room wasn't ready. So I just went across the street, got a Starbucks, and hung out there for a bit.
So here's the situation. My room isn't quite ready yet, which kind of expected considering Uber time pickup and drop off. Right now I'm just chilling in a Starbucks, but Universal City Walk is right down the street. So I think I'll go check that out. So I made it. I am here in Universal City, Los Angeles. The Universal NBC offices that I thought were down the street were actually on the other side of the highway, and Universal Studios and Universal City Walk is within walking distance. I have already checked in for my flight back home, which kind of really nails in the point of just how brief this trip is. The hotel room is okay, I guess. Not loving it, not hating it either. But I've just killed a good hour watching some TV, so now I'm gonna put my shoes back on and get out of here.
God, why is my hair so poofy? I don't want to say anything too mean here, but the management, how do I say this? If I told him that something wasn't quite going right, like my key wasn't working, or that it took me a long time to wait for the Uber, he would always respond with, "Are you serious?" I don't think he was trying to be condescending or rude, because it was evident that English wasn't his first language. But it definitely feels like one of those phrases that he learned somewhere and just decided to roll with it all the time. I put up with the room and the quirky manager because I wasn't going to be in town for a full 24 hours anyway. There was really nothing for me to do but kill time until my movie started, and then once I had seen my movie, that was it.
I was actually walking up and down this street earlier, and I'm amazed at how quiet it is. Or at least quiet compared to the rest of the city. It's quiet. It's a nice quiet.
Now, I hadn't actually purchased the tickets yet, so I had to walk all the way to the Universal City AMC to buy them. I got a seat near the front row, but it was pretty decent. And it was a pretty packed crowd too. But I wager that was more because I was in Los Angeles, and people who live in Los Angeles go to the movies all the time. They see pretty much everything, which was kind of nice. I was sort of among my people, so to speak. Now, the Universal Cinema is part of this greater shopping area that's near Universal Studios. And I thought that, alright, maybe I can get like a half-day pass or something, or generic ticket just so I can go in and maybe go on a couple rides and kill some time. Yeah, fat chance of that happening. It was the middle of December, middle of the Christmas season. No way that was happening. So I browsed around a couple stores, and the music they played around me, like in the park, was noisy. If I was having a conversation with someone there, I would have to speak at a high volume to make myself heard. I checked out this memorabilia store that has a bunch of props with the actor's signature on them and a photo showing proof that the actor did indeed sign it. And there was a comic book store that pretty much had every comic known to man. I kind of regret not going over and saying hi, but at the same time, I don't think he would have appreciated me just saying hi and not trying to get an autograph for his book or talking about his comic book or anything. But Patton Oswalt was there to talk about or sign copies of a comic book he had made. Still, what are the odds of going to a specific part of LA and just so happen to run into a celebrity in that area? Again, not counting time spent on the plane, I was in LA for maybe 27 hours at most. So this was a nice little quiet part of LA. I walked up and down the street, saw a mural of Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. And I don't know why, but being there and just hanging out in this area of the city, looking up into the hills and wondering who lives up there, seeing the billboards for different movies and TV while traffic flies by underneath, it was this bizarre feeling that even today I can't quite explain.
So I'm about to head out the door to the theater where I'll be watching The Order, the movie that I was an extra in the summer of 2023. I don't know why I'm getting so nervous about it. I mean, I'm an extra. I mean, the odds are I probably won't even see myself. I guess the fact that I'm part of a movie that my name is possibly going to be up on the big screen. I could be up there on the big screen. It makes this feel more real. I'm gonna get going because my Uber's gonna be here soon.
Eventually, I did go see the movie, and while of course I turned my phone off so I didn't record the moment, I did manage to find the scene online. And I believe that is me right there just off to the side. So once the movie was over, I took the Uber back, and then I pretty much went to bed. Before I went to the screening, I also just flicked through TV, caught a couple episodes of Friends, and had dinner at this pizza place that was quite cheap and not too bad. I mean, it's pizza. Can't really go wrong with that.
So, I'm about to go to bed. Oh wait, man, I haven't even taken my shoes off yet. Here we go. So, The Order. First off, in and of itself, great movie. You should definitely check it out. And no, not because I'm in it. I mean, well, my name didn't show up in the credits, but that's okay. But I most certainly knew I was in a few of the shots. Like, I recognized myself on the big screen. Let me say that again. I saw myself on the big screen. I know I'm still a long way from a speaking role, a leading role, but I spent so much time doing background work for TV that seeing myself in the background of a theatrically released movie makes, at least in my eyes, it feels like a tangible step to a proper career. Now, I'm not saying my next movie is going to have me as a leading man or anything like that, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Los Angeles may no longer be the place to come to chase your dreams, to make your career a reality. But it is definitely still the place to watch them come to life for the first time. So I got a little under an hour before my Uber shows up. Gonna head out, get a little small breakfast, then pretty much hang around here until my Uber shows up. So right now I'm just chilling out here in this park. So nothing that impressive to show off, but it's another beautiful day out here. Soon I'll have to go back to the airport to catch my Uber. My flight doesn't leave until about 11 o'clock local time, but gotta get there early, you know? You know how airports are. You know how airports are like. Universal City. So Universal City, would I recommend staying here if you're coming to LA? Yeah, I'd recommend it, but you might as well just stay over at the Universal Resort. It's not a bad part of town or anything like that, but I think it's one of those places where if you're going to come here, make sure you have a plan. Don't do what I do. Don't be spontaneous. Don't do what I did. Don't be spontaneous. Actually, have a plan. I only come down here because, well, I only came down here because of the movie. A movie which I only had maybe a few seconds of screen time. Where's that helicopter at? Can't see it anyways. I'm gonna walk as far down as I can and then double back. Then it'll be time to go home. nice thing about traveling light is you're in and out of there.
Hello.
Hi, good morning,
Hi.
Dave.
Good morning. Sorry, I didn't keep you waiting too long, did I?
No, sir, you're fine.
There it is. Next morning, got up, caught my flight back home, and, well, here I am. So that was my big adventure to LA, to see a movie that you could probably only see me on screen for maybe about a few seconds. Was it worth it? Well, logically speaking, no. Cost me a good $1.50 to go down there, buy the ticket and of everything. But in terms of doing something, and now having a story to tell, it was priceless. I think I mentioned it earlier, but I'll say it again here. Seeing myself on the big screen, it gave my prospects of wanting to be an actor a sense of legitimacy. Like, this is real. This is tangible. I can make a career out of this. And now, as 2026 comes into view, I'm hoping to get that career off the ground with not just background work, but with directing and principal acting, leading man, that kind of thing. Now of course the question is, would I do it again? If the funds aren't too tight, then yes. And that is everything I have to say about going to LA to see myself on the big screen. The first of many. Hopefully.